Onward.
Onward.
Proposal 7, update 41B, Board of Finance. Have you spoken with the chair of the Board of Finance?
Oh, I see Thomas over there. So this proposal would change the number of the members of the Board of Finance from an even number, which is 6, to an odd number, which is 7. It would also reduce the term from 6 years to 4.
Well, I can tell you that I have had the question brought to me by several citizens before, why do you have an even number on your board? And of course, I don't have an answer for them because in my beginning time as chairman, that's what I was given. So that's what I've worked with over time. Could it be different and could it be more in line with other commissions? Sure, boards and commissions. But again, I have not had a reason for them, and so it was something that certainly could be discussed. I wouldn't necessarily object to a change, but I also wouldn't object to keeping it as is. What I'd be curious of is to hear feedback from more residents. You know, most of the ones who've come to me have said they just think it's really odd that we're at 6. Why wouldn't we be at an odd number instead of an even number? But if there's others who believe that we're fine as is and should keep it as is, I'm certainly would like to hear that as well.
Yeah, because I know one of Kevin's suggestions was you've got an even number of people. What if you have a tie vote?
The chairman always votes if you either talk to him.
Very, very good point to add to that.
Okay, so I'm okay with making it an odd number, whatever. Board of Ed, Planning and Zoning, have you?
If I go one second and
Oh.
add into that.
Sure.
If you were, and as again a suggestion, if you were going to bring this forth as a question onto charter revision for a vote, you might want to split up the 2 questions because maybe people are okay with going to 7, but not going with 4 years, and therefore you're muddying the waters.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's exactly what I was trying to keep in mind with, because originally as it was conceptualized, let's just bring them all to like 4 years, and I'm kind of thinking, at our last hearing, I think the hearing before, we had some discussion saying, well, there are different requirements, they interface with different experts, so that question was already trifurcated among the boards. Maybe the BOF one needs to be bifurcated, as is, in its current form. Trev?
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of putting odd numbers. I always like a nice, good stopgap. And basically, if we put it as an odd number, 5, 7, whatever the scenario calls for, we have an absolute answer. I don't like the constant, meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting, because we can either, no, it's never happened, but we can see it. So it's to prevent a future issue from happening. So we have insurance for our houses. So if we put it as an odd number, that means we have a decision. Even if we don't like the decision's made. And then you agreed that if we split up the question between 6 and 4 year, it allows the new citizens to participate in there and so forth. So I agree with Art as well on this, is to make it an odd number, and then Kevin's suggestion is to split the question into 2, length and number, and then let the citizens decide.
Okay, so trying to keep track. I want to make sure Board of Selectmen. Is there any more from the Board of Selectmen?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Did you hear from Board of Ed, Planning and Zoning, as far as them changing their?
We had Sean Peterson here, I believe,
Well,
last year.
I would go from the chairs. And
I
hear from the
understand
chairs.
that. And one thing I did request, that notice be given through the town clerk, that all the boards, hey, come in and comment. And I'm sure at some point that will happen.
You didn't reach out to the chairs of those boards?
I figured it would be appropriate to try to do that through the town clerk, which, that
Okay.
we are where we are, and we're not going to get back into that. However,
Okay.
because it is relevant and on point, Sean Peterson was here at the last hearing, and he was in favor of a longer term. And I know when I emailed Ken DePietro, again, he's not speaking for the board, but he happens to be a superintendent with quite a lot of education. He's a sharp guy. He was also in favor of a longer term. And basically the main theme was, both of these entities involved some specialized knowledge. I know Kevin was on the Board of Ed. I'm probably sure he wouldn't disagree with that.
I was too.
She was too.
And I remember Roz has spoke up.
Yeah.
You got a learning curve. But I just wanted to know if you had heard from those chairs.
Yeah.
That's all.
Can I just?
Oh, go ahead. Yeah,
Because I did
it's
talk to
true.
our chair last night. Her concern, and mine too, is that the learning process. Now we rotate we rotate our members in elections, 3 years, you know, three members. Now, it seems the more practical way to go for us. Now, I'm just talking for the zoning board.
I've talked to some others that you haven't, and same things, learning curve.
Yeah, it's a
Maybe
big
that's
learning
right.
curve. Yeah,
To understand,
especially the Board of Education, I can vouch for that.
yeah.
I'm still going?
Yes.
Okay, proposal 10, 7-2. Supreme authority of town meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I
one of the
Okay.
suggestions by Kevin was go back, revisit it, look at it. So, you know, I kind of figured spitballing, let's, you know,
Well, let's do it.
Start the-
Yeah, please.
So,
7-2.
I'll do that there.
So let's start the thought experiment.
Ready?
Go for it.
The first addition you put at the beginning contradicts your proposal, section 1.1, number 3, which takes the power away from the town meeting. You're giving it back to them here. I just wanted to point that out there.
So I agree with you, those proposals would be interrelated.
It contradicts. Further down, this authority includes the right to alter or abolish the form of town government upon duly noted town meeting pursuant to the charter. That, under section 2.2, this could be 25 people. That's our quorum. 25 people could change the town government.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh, right, okay. And then all your legal mumbo jumbo down the bottom, which I did look up everything. But if you're gonna put this out to the public, they're not gonna look this stuff up to vote on it.
The language is-
What a written mandamus is, they're not gonna do that. It has to be simple, it's just,
Yeah, yeah.
So
That's-
basically,
that's over the
you're
top
worried
there, I
about the general public making a mistake.
understanding what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
Yeah.
so in other
they're making a
words,
supreme authority, okay,
the people are in charge.
town meeting.
Whether we like it or not. That's what the
I know
language
that,
basically
that's
is.
why I didn't like 1.1. Okay, going on, capital improvements all set. Proposal 12, I just X'd out, Dan, because you're rewriting it here. And
Okay, so
It's-
is your comment identical to Kevin's comment on it,
on the council?
on proposal number 12?
Oh, that's 12. I forgot
Because
what
that
comment
has
did.
to do with, you know, putting a leash on legal counsel and putting requirements on them to actually be accountable.
Truthfully, you see, I X'd it. Because right now, we're just trying to do some charter revisions. We're not trying to rewrite the charter. That's all. So I X'd it completely.
Well, I mean,
Bam.
yeah, it's
I
a
didn't even-
proposal which this commission will eventually decide how that looks.
I put commentary on everything else. That I
Okay.
didn't. I read it, but I didn't put commentary because I just don't think it should be done right now. Proposal 13, modified 4-2.
Okay. Number 14. Yeah, that's, proposal number 14, that's pertains to 5-6 and 8-2 water pollution control authority.
13,
13, okay.
4-2.
Yes,
Starting off, this shall necessarily include powers, duties, and boards, commissions. They already do this. Section 1.1, section 1.3. Going on, provide for their own rules of procedure, that's Robert's rules. Going on, to discipline and regulate their own members and their proceedings, that's section 7.8, that's already in the charter. After that, from all decisions down to,
okay, so just so I have a note here, your position is proposal number 13 is redundant to the existing portions of the chart.
it looks like it,
Okay.
pretty much the whole thing.
Can I have a 10-second break? I gotta get some water.
Okay, yeah, well, you know, okay, good.
What's that for?
Okay, we're back.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I did make note on the bottom of that, for some reason. 4-2 is for elected boards.
Yep.
7-8 is for appointed boards. Wording is very similar on both, you know, general powers and duties.
What page
Page
is that?
12.
So, what?
On this, what page, you know?
18.
18, okay. Okay, I'm in.
Okay, so you're going to proposal 18, you said, yes?
No, 13, where you were at.
Okay.
I just
13.
made note that
Okay.
this is also, 4-2 is also in 7-8 for appointed boards. So if you're gonna change 4-2, you gotta change 7, because it's pretty much the same wording. What's this one? Oh, that's water pollution. Ethics.
Yes, that would be my proposal,
It's
15.
15, yes.
15.
It's all one.
But, well, that's one option. One option's all gone. One is to modify, one is to leave as is. That's a trifurcated option to let people, ultimately decide.
Okay.
So your commentary is on which of those 3 sub-proposals?
Well, the last one, I have a lot of commentary.
Okay.
The one that you would like. Okay. Yeah, ethics complaint, just to go really quick to page 23, okay, that's the last page. Going through all of this, to make an ethics complaint, I did your timeline, Dan. It would take you 14 months to process an ethics complaint. Roughly, 14 months, pending nothing goes wrong and you have
Right.
delays. So, yeah, I had a lot of commentary on it.
While we're on that one, I have a thing to add to that piece, if that's okay?
Sure.
You're talking about getting a ethics trial jury. How would you force somebody to be on that jury?
How does the state of Connecticut force other people to be on a jury?
That's different. You don't have a state statute to back it up.
Right.
So again, I think that would be a difficult thing to do, to say to someone, hey, would you like to volunteer, one thing, but to make it so that if there's any teeth behind not volunteering, it's totally different.
Right. And obviously this is not final, but the way this came about was it was kind of a compromise between the people that thought, why are we even doing this? And then there's another school of thought thinking there needs to be teeth, not only for an actual ethics violation, but also for, abuse of the ethics process. Say someone, take for example the one where probable cause was found. Like even the proportion of the violation that was found, like the penalty was exacted through like, a $15,000 attorney bill. And it basically just kind of seems like, let's put it this way. I mean, this seems like a discussion that's gonna have to, be continued due to the amount of things that are being considered. On the other hand, I do see how that would take, 14 months to process, but I think the other one where probable cause was found, that the one the town did deliberate over, that litigation lasted more than a year. You had the court case going parallel to that.
It's a large area for discussion, and I agree.
Right.
I'm just saying that to create a jury and then forcing a subpoena
Yeah.
from the selectmen,
Right.
no.
Yeah. It would be a big deal, wouldn't it?
Yes. Yeah, for seven in the last 10 years, complaints.
Yeah.
That would be.
It would be a very big deal.
Even if we had to go on eight.
So I mean,
Huh?
Part of it.
Better than that one would be.
8 what?
yeah. So part of the thinking here and throwing that out is, well, that's what a big deal looks like. So I mean, if we're willing to do it, we're willing to do it. But if not, it sounds like we're not, and we ought not to. So that kind of helps inform, where we go from here. But yeah, duly noted. It is wildly burdensome.
So, on the ethics, let me say this much. On social media, just recently and last week, somebody made a statement that me, being a selectman, shouldn't have appointed my wife to this board, okay? Now, if I have to go to the ethics committee for anything, I feel biased already, because this person on the ethics committee said this. He's wrong, of course, because this is no paying position, so.
May I comment? That was me that you're speaking of
Yes.
on social media.
I wasn't gonna name you.
No, that's fine.
Yeah,
It's named myself.
yeah.
Where did I find it here? There is a conflict of interest with that, according to our code of ethics. And I can read that to you if we have time.
I think we could probably take that into the, into the record, just to
And
kind
it was
of.
brought up, so
Right, I mean, can you summarize it if you could?
I'd like to
just for expediency?
I'm not sure if you all have a copy of the Code of Ethics or not. No,
No, no, I mean,
it is section 1-3, and that is our conflict of interest, which both Art, you fall under, and June, you fall under. It says, persons governed by this code shall not engage in or participate in any business or transaction, including outside employment with a private business, or have interest, direct or indirect, which is incompatible with the proper discharge of his/her official responsibilities in the public interest, or which tend to impair his or her independent judgment or action in the performance of his/her official responsibilities.
how's that a conflict?
That came about because your wife, who's on this committee, very openly said she wanted to dismiss the Ethics Commission and get rid of it. That was the last
That's my
one.
opinion.
Right, right. But you're still able to vote on that before the state of Connecticut receives the charter revisions and then the people receive the charter revisions. I think that was kind of biased.
What does that have to do
Why?
with him? I mean, he and I don't always agree on
Right, right. And I'm not saying that something would ever happen, but
There's no conflict.
In fact, once you get married.
I don't see a conflict of interest in
I know
that.
there's no financial gain,
right,
okay?
right.
It's a volunteer job.
So anyway, Ann,
Express my opinion.
pretty much you're solidifying the point that you're biased towards me now.
No.
So I can't go before this ethics
As a
commission.
related point of information, the only one time in the last decade that anyone found probable cause that anyone had violated the code of ethics, that was 1-3, and it happened to do with that person advocating for special needs children, but also concurrently holding a seat on the Board of Ed, which technically you could argue, as some may, not without merit, that they're furthering the interest of following the law anyhow, so how could that possibly be incompatible? Just as related background, I mean,
Right.
so it seems, that might be part of the code of ethics that might need to change, because it seems like it creates a lot of catch-22s, but that's another discussion for another day.
Yes. So anyway,
Yes.
my recommendation on that one is we should send it to the state, because no matter who we get on the board, on the ethics board here, they're gonna know somebody in town. So it's just,
It's not like a
there's
lot
gonna
of
be
people
bias.
volunteer for these commissions.
Right.
It's not like,
That's true.
lined up at the door
I
to come
understand.
in,
I understand that.
Yeah,
But this is the reason I think the state should do it, because then it's,
I agree, I'm agreeing with you.
a third party, whatever. So I won't go into all my commentary on the ethics, because it's just, about the cannabis, you already know. And funds, I think I'm almost done.
What was your, I'm sorry, but I'm not sure I got your opinion on this.
It's moot.
Take it.
Yeah, it's a moot point. It's reinforced as currently written, page 11, section 7-2. If the state then allows for any, is the terms I'm agreeing with, maybe, I don't know if you agree with.
7-2, basically, we put them in ad hoc committee if it need be.
Yeah. So it could be cannabis, it could be COVID-19, who knows?
Yeah.
Point is, if the commission is required, it can be dedicated in its current writing, but it also, I believe there was a discussion in that somewhere else on this list that 7.2 could be, I think that was just a few minutes ago, was going to be modified. So at its current wording, it's a moot point, it doesn't matter.
Right, which we'll get into that, and I'm sure that, I'm pretty much, I can't speak for anybody, but it kind of seems like we've arrived at a consensus on at least one or two of these proposals.
All right, we got one thing down.
Yeah.
And I'm almost done.
Okay,
Seriously, I'm almost done.
Please continue.
The economic development,
Yes.
I'm not for changing it to a nonprofit, and I have a bunch of commentary if you get to that point.
Actually, I do want to just to double check, no one from the Economic Development Commission is here currently?
June,
Okay.
but I have commentary if you want that after.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
I'm not gonna do it now. In proposal 19, the quorum on your proposal, you have 15 on the top, and you have 20 written in here. Just wanted to note that. You have
Which,
number
you
19.
jumped from Economic Development Commission, I didn't quite get a comment other than,
I switched. I don't think it should go to a nonprofit. If you want the commentary, I can give it to you at another time. I don't want to hold up the
oh, all
meeting.
right, oh, okay, fair enough.
That's all.
We have more meetings, so.
Proposal 19, on the top you have 15. Changing it to 15. In the text you have changing it to 20.
Yeah, keep, abolish, or
So,
change.
anyway-
that's the quorum. So what is your,
My opinion is it should stay at 25 and advertise better.
and advertise, I don't know, that's a town charter thing, but to keep
That's all.
this, you know.
Yeah, I don't think you should go lower on the quorum.
No, I don't either.
That can actually.
Yeah.
The many will be ruled by the few.
Yes.
Well,
Actually,
actually,
the
this
many
change,
don't come out.
more people are coming out, more people are finding out. In fact, when we had a failure last time, when it was rescheduled, we had more than enough because we got the word out. I think it's more important to let more townspeople know
Yeah.
what's going on and instead of trying to keep them away from what's happening.
What is the time you have to turn this in by before we get to vote?
Before
It's June.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, just as a housekeeping item, we do, you know, I mean, it was kind of an error, like, we start really hashing all this out March 25th, but we have like 3 more meetings.
Right.
And there's a lot to go through, and so
Right.
eventually this will end where we're gonna figure out,
Right.
here's what we're gonna mess with going forward.
As you have it, pick one number or the other, 20 or 15. Wait until you see what comes up in the next couple of months, because I'll tell you why. You have, I just purchased 100 signs for each, vote on a Monday, vote on a Tuesday, we're planning on putting them out. The Nixle system's new, we're just starting that to add more people to it. Let's see if that works and see if this actually has any validity. Because it gives you an idea then from
Yeah.
what could or could not change.
Right. Any more BOS input? Okay, commissioners, Trav, I know you were already ready to go before, so do you have any items that we should add? Or,
As for commission, well, the Cannabis Control Commission is one of them. And my big thing is number 22 is the eminent domain. It just makes me feel nervous, because I'm seeing all these properties that are just literally rotting. And I do not know the legalese, I am not in law, but I do know that it just doesn't feel right just looking at it, because it has given us the unintended consequence of, great, we are not taking people's houses, and I fully agree with that, but now we cannot take rotting property. We cannot, we have all these stick buildings that are doing nothing and just floating when it could be utilized for something. And you had brought up the comment of taking the revenue of unpaid taxes or something along those lines. Right now, I believe any residential property that has not paid their taxes, eventually the town can take that property to
Tax lien sale.
tax lien sale.
Yes.
The point is this, is there an avenue that we can come together, was tax lien sale, be able to take the property, because quite simply it's either become a burden on the town, we're either not getting our taxes, or both, or all three, some variable, because I'm not seeing any progress, and then we're getting in a quagmire of decades-long legal process that has just, we are not involved in it, but we are, and we can't do anything about it, while we can utilize it for other purposes.
Can I speak on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd like to see you drafted what you'd like to propose, that's first. Second is, I'd like to explain a little bit more about eminent domain the way it's stated right now, and tax lien sale. The tax lien sale that we could process on an annual basis because people not paying taxes. We should look into doing that more. Matter of fact, I've already asked our town.
yeah, I agree.
To do that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So that we can record what's going on and keep that up to date. That would include commercial, industrial, retail properties. So if we're doing our duty by doing that, I think that we can eliminate another issue. The intent of that originally was being put in there was at the same time as the Kilo case. And the Kilo case was taking over properties that are of home ownership for commercial developments, and they had no say in it.
Correct.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yes.
not.
Yeah, no,
Right, that's the intent of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
If there's a rewording and a redraft to help that out instead, I would be willing to listen to that, that'd be fantastic. But, we should do our own due diligence first.
Yes, I extremely agree with
All right,
that.
and to take over a property, here's the other problem with the tax lien sale versus just taking the property. If you just take the property, the town owns it. You'll have to fix up the
Yeah.
Yeah, and just for,
at our cost.
the city of Norwich is learning this the hard way.
Yeah.
They actually had to hire a real estate manager because they've gotten so many
Yes,
properties in
yeah,
tax
I saw
foreclosure.
that.
There's gonna be a happy medium,
Yes.
but that's why I'm waiting for your draft. of that.
As much as I would love to have any kind of legal background on that, just knowing that thing, that's where my thing is, because we could do so much more with this town if we know we're staring at literally just a horrible piece of property that could be reutilized for somebody else. There's gotta be a methodology that we gotta think about.
Allow me then to reach out to Connecticut Compass municipalities.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Please.
And ask them what other towns are doing with this, and that way I can bring it back to your next meeting.
Fantastic.
But I would like to see your initial intent and draft.
Actually, as I understand it, Trav, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think your proposal was to add one sentence: the town at its discretion may utilize eminent domain for the purposes of tax satisfaction, comma, blight issues, comma, environmental issues or other issues the town deems fit to recognize.
Yeah, see, that's the thing, is that it's open-ended, but basically is that if we have a tax issue, if we have had a residential neighborhood that grew around a dilapidated property that just looks horrible, is there some kind of ordinance or something along those lines? But it is meant as a guidance because, again, I don't know what the exact terms are, but that being said, is if we have had an automotive plant and all of a sudden it has an exposure of oil in the water or something along those lines to where there's something wrong.
I like oil.
I do not know the whole
Well, that's
details.
what you're talking about.
Yes, so the point is this: there's got to be an avenue, a happy medium, or a methodology.
And then what you said, open-ended, that's the problem.
Yeah.
It can't be open, it has to be tight. So there's no, you and I would look at the chart and you would say, you have your version of it and I have my interpretation of it. Has to be tight.
Yeah, because you're talking about taking property. I mean, if you open
Yeah.
that
Oh,
door.
yeah, yes.
Yeah, and I don't want to take people's houses to make a shopping mall.
Right.
I want to take property that is just not only not being utilized, but is stuck in some kind of process, either legal or something that is just affecting more than the people who own that property.
I just don't want to make so that we end up with
A shopping
a
mall.
lawsuit, one, but
Yeah.
also a park would say, well, I interpret this a different way.
Yeah.
Why don't you just take the property? Where I would say, that's not where we want to
Yeah.
jump at.
Yeah.
As long as it's tight and we know exactly what we're looking for. I will reach out to CCM about that.
Yes, that would
That
be
sounds
extremely helpful, because this is nothing we discussed here today, or even the last few weeks, is new territory for anybody in the United States. It's just our own individual problems, and that one, if we could find out what other people have done to satisfy that, that would make me incredibly happy, because that is one of the driving things when I'm here, is that what
Yeah.
really is.
All right, anything else? Trev?
No, I have nothing more.
Virginia?
No?
June?
I have one thing that I would like to add, I don't know what number.
It would be number 24, because 23 we decided
I
would be
see
the.
the quotes.
Yeah.
Page 15 in the charter,
In the charter?
yes, the charter book. It's nepotism, actually on the bottom, 14.
Nepotism.
I'd like to-
14.
Yeah, I just wanted to propose adding son-in-laws, steps, in-laws, and steps. Because it says, the Ethics Commission shall establish guidelines for the employment or appointment to a position of financial gain, any member of the board or commission, or the spouse, child, parent, brother, sister. But like, I'm just proposing adding son-in-law and steps, only because it would update it a little bit. Because a financial gain in a family is going to affect, it can affect step kids, step parents, in-laws. There was a case where someone in the Board of Selectmen was, bought a large vehicle for the highway department from their son-in-law's company. And that was brought up to the ethics and it was dropped because there was no son-in-law here. So, I mean, how financial gain continues beyond spouses, kids, that was just a thought I had.
Actually, so the phrases you would, okay, so.
I would just add I would add in-laws and steps. It's so common now.
To
Yeah,
the
sure.
add children-in-law.
Yeah, I don't know how to put it. Sure.
Any in-law, could be a mother-in-law.
Yeah, it could be
Yeah.
mother-in-law.
Anyone,
Parent-in-law.
you worry about the
Quick.
verbiage later.
So, you know, it's funny because this was written, the Ethics Commission then was actually, their purpose was to write the code of ethics,
When the child
right?
born.
In the
Years
charter,
ago.
yeah. So that was actually the purpose of the Ethics Commission back then.
Which brings up the question, Kevin. Would you also, if you did change this in the charter, would you change it in the code of ethics?
Yeah,
You
so
have
it
to
would be in
change
sync.
the whole-
Yeah,
Whatever
yeah.
we change would be in sync,
Yeah.
Yeah, they have.
if it's changed at all.
Yeah.
Just a thought. I don't know.
Okay.
It's actually a very good
That's my
thought.
only thought.
Child is a little-
You know how I feel about this?
Yeah, because this was written back in the days when nobody got divorced for any
Right.
reason.
Yeah,
And they certainly didn't, yeah.
They evaded the sheriff, you know, back then it was the sheriff. All right, any new proposals, June, or?
No, that was it. You know how I feel about the rest of it, I
Right.
already mentioned.
Ross, you've got a few.
No, just a question on breaking
Yes.
into subcommittees. How do you plan on doing that?
Well, basically, the next item is to go ahead and figure out which ones we're going to, you know, not even explore any further, and which
Okay.
ones we're going to decide. For some reason, if it's great, we all agree on the language, we adopt it, as this is probably not gonna happen to any of them. Or refer for, you know, the future committee meetings that we have to start the first draft. And then from there, we'll figure out, here's what we have to work on.
Okay.
You know, so that's how we'll do that. Any additional ideas?
Oh, my.
Yes, go ahead, Lynn.
How much can we put on the ballot to be voted on?
Well, here, just so I can, so a lot of people don't realize this, but there was a lesser-known actor, I think his name was Arnold Schwarzenegger, he ran for governor of California. There were over, I think, 200 people on that ballot. Nobody got confused. Everyone figured out what they wanted to do just fine.
I think we have to, well, I think we have to prioritize.
Right, I mean, because obviously we've got interrelated items, like, you know, for example, the now proposal 5, it involves a lot of different moving pieces, so that's obviously gonna be a big one.
This is gonna get whittled down, I think.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we're hopefully going to start doing tonight.
And we want
Right,
to go
nice.
forward, something that's gonna
Nice.
be nice. Yeah, I don't think tonight.
All right, so we could, you know, basically, if nobody has any additional input, now we're on to item 7, which is to establish where we are. Do we want to, is there a motion on the floor for how the commission would like to do that? Because I was going to suggest, and I can't speak for everybody obviously, and I don't intend to, but I had a spreadsheet where, you know, if we could just go line by line and decide which, you know, we'll tackle later and which obviously we don't need to tackle.
Is our next meeting March 25th?
It is. I smell a motion on the floor pertaining to March 25th.
I would have a special meeting for its one and only purpose is to vote this and that. Is it good? Is it yay? Is it nay? I see, you know, potential 7th vote, up or down, move along.
And the way I'm understanding, the chair understands your motion, is that if we vote yay, it's that the proposal will survive and continue through the process.
Correct.
Right.
Okay. There is a motion on the floor. Is there a second to handle the items that way?
I'll second
All right, the motion has been seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed to handling it that way?
Nay.
One nay,
Oh, 2 days.
2 nays, there. The sunny part, which is all of it.
it. Right. 85 and 96. What are we?
We are looking to, because the next meeting we have is the 25th, and today is the 11th.
So the 23rd, I believe, is what, the fourth Monday?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of events going on there. A lot of functions, anyways, just a lot of stuff.
It's a what?
It's a Monday, it's the
Monday.
fourth Monday.
Okay.
And then one gets you the ability to get back and to professionally vote on it. And being that we're not gonna be sitting for 3-4 hours,
Right.
it's an up or down.
That's it.
Yep. And that is the motion which has passed. Now, the second question is we need a motion for the date.
I motion, March 23rd at 6:30 PM.
Ooh, I almost stopped. March 23rd is a what day of the week?
Monday.
Monday,
6:30.
6:30.
I'll second
All right.
Special meeting,
Yes, I would have a special meeting.
It has to be quick,
Or what would be the appropriate designation?
special meeting.
Yeah, it would be a special meeting.
but a quick one, right?
Yes, very quick one. We have now 25 items. We can just.
Because they're gonna need the table at 7 o'clock.
Oh, we can do this. You know, I mean,
They're
it's.
gonna need the
You can
table.
go in his office.
That'd be cool.
So that means,
Depends on the owner. We usually have 3, if not 4, sometimes 4. meetings
Oh.
going on.
I know the 23rd is gonna be a very busy night.
it. Oh, we could go.
This place is big enough to find a place to be.
All there is ag,
Ag is.
that's all.
I'd be amazed if it took us more than 10 minutes.
I would
I know.
concur. So
Yeah.
that being said.
So the motion is on the floor. It has been seconded for March 23rd, 6:30 PM. What say ye, commission? Aye. It's unanimous. Anybody opposed? No, we all agree.
I just want to see what it felt like to say.
I did like that too. I was like in a
I
pack.
would get another meeting.
No, but this is quick,
We'll also
so.
have another member, a new member that was voted on.
Oh,
the other night.
that's right.
What is
Yeah.
that?
Frank Mills was voted on the other night. He's just going to be sworn today because the contract was not there. So otherwise he'll be trained tonight. What you have to do is you have to give
Then
him
give him
a
a
copy.
packet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give him a copy of the packet that you had passed
Yep.
out tonight, so he has that to reflect on. If he had to, he can go back to the video.
Yep, and I will update it to add the new proposals 23, which is just to generically fix typos. Obviously, that language is to be determined. And new fix to section 9-2E to add children-in-law, parents-in-law, and stepchildren.
Father-in-laws.
Yeah.
Whatever.
All right, so as the chair sees it, the remainder of the agenda has been obviated by prior votes. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Oh,
Go
wait a
with
minute, one more thing.
Yes.
Just want to say, we can't meet on email, because FOI can FOI us.
No, I
Somebody-
understand that, and that is why
Okay, I
I
just wanna make sure
specifically
that-
requested the town clerk to distribute everything through the town clerk, which, you know, going
We
forward,
have to do it in meetings.
right.
So I just want to be sure.
Right.
Tom's got it.
Mr. Chairman, just one thing I wanted to point out real quick before you adjourn is, your next meeting, you said, is on the 25th, correct?
The
25th.
23rd is the special meeting, but then there's a meeting on the 25th, which is
25th
also
of
the Board of
this month,
Finance.
correct. So the way that's going to work is the Board of Finance, we're going to be meeting going forward in the auditorium, but I would recommend that you please take a look going forward into the budget season at our approved budget calendar, and make sure that if you have any other future special meetings, that you don't schedule them on the same night of the budget
And that's
meeting, because there are
specifically
key
why we did
individuals,
Wednesdays.
of course, here at the commission that also need to be present at the
Yeah.
budget meetings.
And that's specifically why we picked Wednesdays initially. So is there a motion to adjourn? All right, a second? All right, all in favor of adjourning, say
Ah.
Aye.
aye, yay.
Aye.
All right,
Okay.